Guess who's back, 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 back again, again, again. Callie's back, back, back. Tell a friend, friend, friend. That has literally been playing in my head all day long. Hi friends, welcome to episode 86 of the Quirky Monday Craftcast. My name is Kalisha and you can find me anywhere online as Nadir Tani. I am coming to you today from my home in Central Florida where it's raining outside. Fun fact about Florida, if you didn't know, the summer is essentially the rainy season and it rains like every day around 3 o'clock. So it's like almost 5 right now, and we've had 2 rainstorms this afternoon. Yeah. I was like, oh, maybe I can just wait it out and then go outside and record. But that's a poor choice. That's a poor choice. So you guys get my white bedroom wall. Yay! If you're a returning viewer, thanks so much for coming back and hanging in there with me. I know it's been a while since I recorded. And if you are a new viewer, welcome. Thank you so much for coming to spend some time with me today. I will give you guys fair warning. This is going to be a long one. Yeah, there's no way around that. My notes are like a whole page. But I will try to not keep you here for a month of Sundays. I'll do my best. Before we jump into the crafting, I did want to say a warm, full felt thank you to any of y'all who sent encouraging words, condolences to me and my family with our recent loss. So thank you so much for taking the time to send those messages. That's really kind. It really warmed my heart as well as my husband's heart because I definitely shared them with him. So thank you all so much for your prayers, warm wishes, positive thoughts, positive energy, all of that. Thank you so much. And with that, we will jump right into the crafting. So I have a couple finished objects. Both of them are pairs of socks. The first finished object, I think I had it as a finished object a while ago, but it was, I was making a pair of socks, which are these, and all I had to do was put in the afterthought heels. So I finished the sock tube and everything like that, and I just have to put in the heels. So this was the beginning of my travel knitting. So if you guys remember, this is how they looked the last time they were on the podcast. This yarn was given to me by my friend Jen, who's also on Instagram as Yarn Tripping. And I want to say this yarn is, I'm going to lie, I can't remember exactly what this yarn is. But I think the colorway is Rocket Man. And I want to say it's 3 Irish Girls. These could all be lies. I will put the correct information on the screen. But this is how they looked before. And this is how they look now. I put in the heels. The contrast colors that I used, the green is Sour Apple from Knit Picks. It's Knit Pick Stroll. The yellow is Dance With Me Beast by Yarn Cafe Creations. And this pink is one that I dyed myself called Starshine. Ta-da! So they are all ready to be worn. I haven't worn them yet because I wanted to keep them pristine. Look how flat and smooth those are. Oh yes. So those are my, oh, there's smuts. Those are my first finished objects, and I finished these on our drive to Delaware. A couple weeks ago, my husband and I went up to Delaware for my younger brother's college graduation. Woo woo. I will talk about that at the end of the podcast. My next finished object, did I finish them just last night? No, I finished them the night before last. I didn't even tell y'all what day this is. It's Monday, June 17th. So I finished these Saturday night, which was the 15th, which was also me and Lamar's my husband. It was our 5th anniversary. Yay! So these are my Volda socks. So I did them the same way that I did these socks. That's not true. I did these as a toe-to-toe 2 at a time sock, magic 2, whatever. They went, yeah, this way. So I started at this toe, and then I knit a tube that went all the way down there, and then I ended with this toe, and then I cut in the heels as afterthought heels, and then I cut them in half, and I knit the cuffs, 2x2 rib cuffs. All of my socks are knit on US 1 2.25 millimeter needles with 64 stitches. That's pretty much like my go-to. So they have all of these progress keepers on because this was my vacation knitting when we were in Delaware. So I finished these in the car, like a couple hours in the car, and then I picked these up, and I put a stitch marker every day. So this is where they were when I picked them up to start working on them in the car. Then this was day 1, like the rest of the driving day. This was during Andrew's graduation. This was the Friday. Was his graduation on Friday or Thursday? His graduation was on Friday. This was Sabbath. And then it went from here. So that was like the Sunday, the Monday, and then Tuesday was a travel day. We left really late at night. Well, not really late at night. We left close to sunset on Tuesday. And I was driving first. Driving from Florida to Delaware is like 14 hours, I think. And we left at like 9 o'clock p.m. But I drove first, so there was that. And then when it was Lamar's turn to drive, I was sleeping. So then this bit was Wednesday after I woke up in the car. And then this was all like after we got home, whenever I picked it up, finished it out. Most of this sock, when I was knitting and when I was knitting in the car, I was listening to the audiobook Children of Blood and Bone? Children of Bone and Blood? One of those two. I always get the name of the book mixed up. But that book was so, like, I was knitting like the wind. I was knitting so fast. Because it was so intense. I was like, oh my gosh, will our heroes make it out alive? You know. But it was a really good book. 10 out of 10, definitely recommend. Yeah. I might talk more about that later. But really good book. Really good knitting, listening. You know what I mean? I hope you know what I mean, because I don't think I'm making any sense right now. Socks. Done. Now, I said these are called the Volda socks because this main color yarn is Barocco socks. Where's the tag? It's Barocco socks. It's a 75% superwash wool, 25% nylon. Regular sock yarn. This yarn was given to me by Hannah of the Cozy Cottage Crochet. The reason that they're called the Volda socks is because Hannah hated them. She said the yarn was super splitty when she was using it, and she was running into like a few knots. So I kind of feel bad because I think all of like the knots and shenanigans were in just that portion of the yarn, because there were no knots in the section that she gave me. So I was just like, oh. And then I think that I only split the yarn a couple times when I was knitting. So maybe it's a difference in like the way we knit or whatever like that. Or maybe the yarn just felt super bad that, you know, it pissed off Hannah, so it was on its best behavior for me. But the Volta socks are done. I'm very happy. They turned out way taller than I was expecting them to. So that's pretty cool. They're actually taller than my sock blockers. So, tall socks in Florida. Tall wool socks in Florida. I do what I want. Those are my 2 finished objects. And next we'll go into works in progress. So the first work in progress I want to show you is my retreat shawl. This is a pattern by Dawn Henderson. And she's on Instagram as dawn.landix. I am making the shawl out of Barocco. Is this Barocco? I think this is Barocco. Remix Light. And of course I don't have the tag in here, but this is Remix Light. I want to say it's Barocco. But it's basically a recycled fiber yarn, and there's like a huge like mix of fibers in it, which is really cool. And also the color is just really, really pretty. I only have 1 ball of this, so I doubt I'm going to be able to finish the shawl like with as many repeats as Dawn indicates in the pattern, but at least not from this ball. I'm playing with the idea of doing like finishing up with a different color because I have some more of this yarn in my stash, but I don't know. We shall see. But this is the shawl. This stitch marker is where I was the last time you saw it. So I had finished 1 of the cable repeats, I think. So this is the solid part of the shawl. It's really crinkly. Ta-da-da. And then there's cabling here. And you can just see it there. It's very subtle, especially on this colorway with like the variegation that's in it. Or the, what'd you call this, Tweety? I don't know. But you can see there's like that chevron kind of cable pattern in there. I'm really enjoying it. I finally learned how to do these cables without a cable needle, so I am flying along now. I've completed 2 repeats of the chart pattern, and the pattern calls for 6 repeats. And yeah, so this it's really relaxing knitting, and I can't wait for it to be done so that I can lay it out and like iron it or block it. I don't know how I'm gonna block this. I'll probably just steam iron it if I'm honest, but I want to see it off the needles, you know what I mean? So yeah, I took this to Delaware with me, didn't work on it at all. Stop growling, Tootie. Excuse me? Come here. Come here. You want to come up? No? You're just going to ignore me? That's fine. My next work in progress are my socks for Jason. Jason is my younger brother-in-law who recently passed away, and he was an amazing singer, musician. Like, that's one thing that everyone was saying at the funeral, was how much they loved him, like loved his musicality, and also how he was such an easy person to love, which is very true. So I drew up this colorwork chart right here of treble clefs, and I decided that I was going to knit them into socks. I've never done colorwork before, but I'm very proud with how this came out as my first time ever doing colorwork, and I'm very happy with these socks. So here is sock number 1 of Jason's socks. So the main color here is String Theory Colorworks in her circumhorizontal arc colorway. And there's my colorwork. So I think on this one I was holding both of the yarns too tightly, like there was too much tension, because it is a little bit hard to get over my foot, but I don't care. And I just finished the colorwork on the second sock last night, actually. So let me show you the second sock. And I'm super proud of myself because I like painstakingly matched the stripes. Yeah. So, and as you can see, this sock, the second sock, which I know for sure that I was holding both of the yarns looser, like the black color work is much bolder. I'm not entirely sure how to recreate that, but yeah. So, this, what I want to say, I didn't watch any videos on like how to hold 2 yarns for 2-color color work. I just kind of held them the regular way that I hold yarn when I'm knitting. So, this is how I regularly tension my yarn. Get it together. I just roll it through my fingers like this, and then I wrap it around my index finger twice. So basically what I did was I held both strands and wrapped them around my index finger, and then one of the strands I dropped one of the wraps so that I had one strand coming here and then another strand coming here, and then I just picked whichever one. I wasn't paying any attention to which strand was where. I was just kind of picking them as they came up in the chart. Because of the way I twist them around my fingers, the yarns end up twisting around each other like that. So, I don't know. I got through the color work, and that's what really matters. In the second sock, I also tried to use this little thing. It's like a yarn, it's not like, it is a yarn guide where you put the yarn through those little hooks. But I don't know if I was using it incorrectly or if this one is too big for fingering weight yarn, but the yarn just kept sliding out of the guides. I was like, you're supposed to hold the yarn. That's literally your only job. You have one job. But I used this for half of the color work on here, and then I got annoyed with it and just went back to wrapping the yarn around my fingers like I had been doing. And it was fine. The black yarn that I used in here is just Deborah Norville Serenity Sock in black. And the regular striping and the cuff is done on the 2.25, and then the color work was done on 2.75 millimeter needles. Yes. So yeah, I am so proud of that. Like, so proud of that stripe matching. But after all of that, like, painstaking matching, like, I cast this sock on twice to make sure that I had like the stripes matching. The color work part is stretched out more because of how loosely I held this. But there's still the same number of rows. Like once I counted the rows of yellow and the rows of yellow over here, they're both 9 rows long. But this one is much more compact because I was holding everything tighter. So I hope that like blocking will like loosen that up. But whatever. It's fine. It is fine. And man, I dropped stitches. I did accident, like one of these black colorwork stitches in here, I didn't actually knit it. I slipped it or something. And then when I came back around to it, I was like, what is happening here? And I was like, meh, just keep knitting. It's fine. So this is my current like walkabout work in progress. This is how the yarn looks in the cake. And now I'm just going to be knitting down the leg and the foot. I did do an afterthought heel in these. I've been doing a whole lot of afterthought heels, but I wanted to do an afterthought heel in these because I didn't want to mess up the stripe sequence, and I also didn't know exactly where I wanted to put the heel. Like I didn't know how long I wanted the leg to be. So yeah, I was just like, I'll just knit it until it feels right. It felt right. So it's really sad that Jason's never gonna see these. I think he would really like them. Next we have maker plans. So I have 3 things on my maker plans that I want to get started ASAP. So the first thing, well, 2 of them I want to get started ASAP. The third thing is kind of like, I want to do it soon, but I don't know exactly when I'm going to start, but it's fine. So the first thing on maker plans is the Raspberry Cable Beanie by Noma and Ndlovu. This is a pattern that is on my Make 9. Yes, I am still working on my Make 9. Right now I am 4 or 5 patterns. 4. I finished 4 patterns on my Make 9 list, and then I kind of got like detour into other things that I wanted to make and whatever like that. It's fine. Make what makes you happy, right? So I am going back to the Make 9 because I do want to complete that list. I think that would be really awesome. So if you're a new viewer, my Make 9, when I made it at the beginning of the year, I specifically chose patterns that were by Black designers. So it makes me very happy that I have 9 different patterns on my Make 9 by 9 different Black designers, and so far they have all been really pleasant to work, and I like need to pick up the reins on this Make 9 again and get back in the groove of it. So next I'm doing the Raspberry Cable Beanie by Noma and Ndlovu, and it's just like a cabled beanie. I think it's done in bulky yarn, so I'm probably going to end up holding some yarn double to create this. I might make it a little bit slouchier because hair, but I am in the need of new hats for the locks. So yeah, I'm excited to get that started. I need to just start it, and then, you know, I would have it ready to go. You know, it's the starting, guys. It's the starting. My next maker plan is a shawl. I don't know what kind of shawl it's going to be. I don't know if I want to do one of the shawls that I have in my Make 9, because I do have the Milu. Is that in my Make 9? Yes. Milu by Tammy Gore is on my Make 9. But I don't know if I want to use that shawl for this particular project, or that pattern for this particular project. So for the last, I think 2 years, I think this is the 3rd year that they posted this, Claudia of Crochet Luna and Clarizabeth of Crochet Cakes have hosted the Summer Romance Cow. And they always have like a theme to go with it. And this year's theme is Opposites Attract. Now, I mentioned that when Lamar and I went to Delaware, I was listening to the audiobook, Children of Blood and Bone. So 2 of the main characters in that book are Zaylee and Aaaand. And I think I want to make my shawl based on them. Y'all, I had so many feelings during this book. And I cannot talk about any of them without spoiling the book. So just know, really good book. Definitely recommend. I definitely recommend listening to the audiobook because the reader was amazing. Like, you know how sometimes when you listen to audiobooks, the reader kind of changes their voices a little bit, or their voice a little bit for the different characters. And then sometimes you have readers that don't change their voice and you're like, what are you even doing? This reader, who is it read by? This book was read by Bonnie Turpin, and she killed it on all the different characters. Every single character had a different voice, to like distinct enough that you started learning who the voice was. So you didn't have to wait for them to say, and Zaylee said, or said Zaylee, or said Aaaand, or whatever like that. You knew who was talking, and it just brought so much more color and fullness to the story and to the characters. So that was really, really awesome. So I definitely recommend audiobook on that one if you're able to. See, the rain is picking up again. Here's your moment of calm. So I think I want to make a shawl that is based on colors inspired by these 2 characters. And I made a chart of like the different colors that like come to mind, or that are regularly in the book, like referenced for these particular characters. Like Zaylee has silver eyes in the book, and people are always, or somebody is always commenting on the girl with the silver eyes, you know, or Aand's skin tone. What do they say his skin tone is? No, not his skin tone. They always talk about his amber eyes. So like these different colors are always represented or always called out with these different characters. So I want to do something that evokes both of them. And I think I want to do a shawl. We'll see. I will put I should have put the dates for the Summer of Romance Cow. If I didn't, here it is. But yeah, so that's another maker plan that I have that I need to get on because it is summer, and yeah, need to get working on that. And the last maker plan that I have, and I feel like I've mentioned it, or like I mentioned it in passing or whatever like that, but I want to yarn bomb my spinning wheel. One of my cousins gave me a bunch of these little like yarn babies. Like they're like meep, little balls of yarn, and it's like a rainbow of them. And at first I was going to do like rainbow stripy socks. But then I got my spinning wheel and I was like, oh, I could use them and like yarn bomb my spinning wheel, and that would be really cute. So I think that's something that I want to do over the summer. Also, I think International Yarn Bomb Day just passed by. It always sneaks up on me. I'm the worst yarn bomber when it comes to International Yarn Bomb Day. Oops. So yes, those are all of my maker plans. Hopefully some of those will be started by the time I record next episode. We shall see. Speaking of my spinning wheel, we'll move right on into Kalisha and the Babe. I recently got a spinning wheel. I actually got it over Easter, and it is a Babe, I forget what kind of wheel it is, just like the regular Babe wheel. Fiber Garden, whatever. But it's a Babe spinning wheel, and that's the company that makes their wheels out of composite wheelchair wheels and PVC pipe. So it's a really cost-effective way to get into spinning, like into wheel spinning, if you don't know if this is something that you really want to invest in, because like wooden wheels can be hella expensive. So I was lucky enough to find one used on Craigslist in Florida. But I have been spinning a lot with it and really enjoying learning a new skill. So I want to show you my most recent finished spin. This is some mystery fiber that I got from the Barn Yarn in Claremont before they closed. And it's just various tones of purple. I don't know what it is. It's very like farm to dye pot to consumer, because there's so much hay in this. Like there's still vegetable matter in there. And as I was spinning, I had on some black pants, and there was just dust and debris on my lap as I was spinning it, but it was pretty cool. This is a 2-ply, because that's pretty much all I'm spinning right now. I haven't ventured into 3-ply yet, but this is a 2-ply. I got 66 yards. Yeah, I got 66 yards, and I would say it's probably a worsted weight. Yeah. Not as consistent as I have spun, but this was basically the first thing that I spun after not spinning at all for a couple weeks. So I really like it. I really like the colors. It's a very subtle shift between the shades of purple in here. When I got this fiber, it was like tangled. It literally looked like they cut it off of the animal, dyed it purple, let it dry on something, and then sold it in kind of a heap. So I had to like detangle it with my slicker brushes. I made little nests. Then I like pre-drafted them out together to kind of make like a roving situation, kind of. But this one definitely caused for the most fiber prep that I've had to do so far. So that was fun to learn, like the process of like working through the fiber that way. It also had, I'm assuming, some oils from the animal left in it, because as I was spinning, like I could feel it like in my hands. So all new experiences. It is definitely the least prickly fiber that I've used, or that I have, that I've used. So that's pretty cool, because I can put it around my neck and I'm not like wanting to rip my skin off. So that works. The next thing that I'm going to be spinning on my wheel is the fiber that I got from Evelyn. Let me grab one. This is the fiber that I got. Hello. This is the fiber that I got from Evelyn. She sent me 2 of these, and each one, like I weighed the whole bag, and the bag itself, like all of this weighed 130 grams, or 4.5 ounces. So I'm assuming that, you know, it's a little bit off because of like the plastic and everything, but whatever. So the first one I have taken out of the bag. I've been like so paranoid to like use this because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so pretty. I don't want to mess it up. But I mean, somebody in one of the comments of, I think it was my last video or the one before that, said, spin the good fiber, they're always making more. This is true. There aren't any naked animals. So what I'm going to do with the first bag is I pulled it all out and I split it in half, and I'm going to attempt my first fractal spin, which basically means splitting it in half like lengthwise. So I'll have two bundles of fiber going through the whole gradient. One of the bundles I'm just going to spin top to bottom, so like one long gradient. The other bundle I'm going to split maybe into fours, like fourths, and then you spin them top to bottom, like all the way like that, end to end, and then you spin them together, or you ply them together. So I am I don't know why I'm so nervous, because it's not like I'm blending them together or anything, but like, just because this is like my first deliberate color management kind of thing. But I've already split them in half, so there's no going back now. And then this one, my goal is going to be to make just a gradient. So I'm going to split it in half and then spin those both top to bottom and then ply them together. And hopefully get a good amount of a solid gradient, and then I'll have a fractal gradient. I'm really excited about this. Nervous, yes, but excited. So those are the only two plans, or the only two things that I have to share with you guys on Kalisha and the Babe. So we'll move on to stashquisitions. Now, there's quite a few stashquisitions, guys. I blame it on the fact that I went to Delaware, and when one goes on vacation, one buys the things. So let's start out with the stashquisitions that I purchased. Yes, I got a bowl. This is a like a handmade fabric bowl. It's called a braided fabric basket by Carrie Bell's Calico. There, that's their information. And this, it handcrafted in South Carolina. So when Lamar and I were driving up to Delaware, we stopped in South Carolina, and we stopped for gas, and it was this random little gas station in the middle of like all these cornfields. Like there was gas station, cornfields. At least I'm pretty sure it was corn. And so, you know, stop for gas, go and use the bathroom, and there's like a mini thrift store in the gas station, plus like handmade goods. And I was like, okay. And then all the bags were 50%, or all the baskets were 50% off. So I got this one. Thought it was really cool. It's holding the goodies that I purchased in Delaware / on the road. So yeah, that was in South Carolina. And then as you're driving up, the border between North and South Carolina, there's this tourist attraction called South of the Border. It's definitely one of those places that you go and you're like, man, I cannot believe these caricatures are okay. But we stopped there to walk around and see it, and to my surprise, they had Ankara fabric. So I bought some. I think I got 2 yards, but yeah, like actual wax prints from south of the border. I'm not mad. Yeah. I wish I had more like fun money, because they had, I think, 3 different patterns, and I would have loved to get more, but you know, I was like, when we go to Delaware, I want to buy yarn, so I got to save this money. So those are my only things that I got on the road. And then in Delaware, we went to AC Moore. Now, we don't have AC Moore down here in Florida, and I do miss it. It's just like a regular craft store like Joann's or Michael's or whatever, but we just don't have one down here. So I always get super jealous when I'm watching Laurel of the Dabbling Hook, because she's like, yeah, we went to AC Moore and they have this and they have that, and I'm like, I want the AC Moores. So I made it my business to stop at AC Moore, you know, and just go in there one of the days that we were up there. So I got 4 balls of yarn, 2 balls of patent croy socks. This one is Purple Haze, and this one is Sunset Stripes. So those are going to be socks. And then I got these. These are studio samples. They are 20% wool, 20% nylon, and 60% acrylic. 183.7 yards. That's very specific. And 50 grams. So that's what both of these are. Do these have colorway names? Nope. Yeah. So they're both fingering weight, so I figure make little socks from them or something like that. Yeah. And I think each one of these was $1. I want to say they were on sale for $1. So, huzzah. So after we went to like the big box yarn stores, I was like, okay, we have to go to the Yarn Maven. Like, there's no way that I'm going all the way up to Delaware, be up here for almost a week, and not go to the Yarn Maven. Not happening. So we went, and I didn't have anything in particular that I was looking for. Like, I didn't have any plans, like no projects in mind or anything like that. So I went in, I picked up some yarn, some blue and gold yarn, to make something for my baby brother, because those are his college colors. Coincidentally, they are also my college colors, so maybe we could have like a matching thing, because I'm that person. But I asked the shop owner, whose name I believe is Sue, if they have any locally dyed yarn, and they did. So this is Aaron Joy, and this is a one-of-a-kind colorway. It's an 80/20 superwash merino nylon, 115 grams to 415 yards. Of course, I had to get the green. We are not surprised, but Sue was telling me that this yarn is like exclusively dyed and sold through the Yarn Maven, so I was really excited to be able to purchase that yarn, or this yarn. Yeah, I really like the shop. It's really bright and open, and like the whole front of the shop is like one big window, so the lighting was beautiful, and it was just really pleasant to be in there. Everything was arranged like in rainbow order, which I feel any place that sells like fabrics or yarns or anything that you match by color, or you're pretty much looking for colors, should be in like some sort of rainbow order. I always get real confused when I go into a yarn shop and it's just like, here's the yarn, and you're like, but I do love a well organized color wheel. So yes, this is what I purchased. This was my main purchase from the Yarn Maven. I also picked up these bookmarks, which were at the cash register, and they were just kind of like in a box, and so I started flipping through when she was like keying in my purchases, and the first one I picked up was this one, and it says, "Worry does not empty tomorrow of its sorrows, it empties today of its strength." And that's a quote by Corrie ten Boom. And when I read that, especially since this was the first one that I picked up, I was like, I have to buy this, because we were in Delaware like a week after finding out, like a week and a half to 2 weeks after finding out that Jason had passed. So there was a whole lot of, like, you know, that sadness and worry that I was feeling, and that, you know, the family was feeling. And for this to be the first thing that I pick up, I felt like that was really appropriate. And then I had to get this one as well, because the quote on here is, "We are the music makers and we are the dreamers of dreams." And that is one of my favorite quotes from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but it's actually a quote by Arthur O'Shaughnessy. But I had to get these. So there they are. I don't know what I'm going to use them in or whatever. I might have to take one of my Harry Potter bookmarks out of book, who am I on? Book 6? Yeah, I might have to take my Harry Potter bookmark out of there and put one of these in. Who knows? But that's everything that I purchased from the Yarn Maven. I'm so glad that I got to go. I am going to be sharing pictures of the Yarn Maven shop and like some videos and stuff on my Instagram. So if you don't follow me and you want to see like little clips of the shop, definitely pop over there. I am Nadira Tani. So is that everything from Delaware? Yes. The last bit that I have for Stashquisitions is Happy Mail. So you guys are the sweetest. I did get some really thoughtful Happy Mail. This card is from Kindle, and she sent me a thinking of you card with a little teddy bear on it. And fun fact, when I opened it, you can see like her note is over there, and then there's like this tissue here. So I was like, oh, you sent me a tissue for my tears. No, she didn't. Nope. She sent me a pressed penny. There you go. You can see it. It is from Pea Soup Anderson's in Santa Nella, California. And she said this is her favorite restaurant. So she saw the pressed penny machine and decided to press a penny for me. So that's really, really sweet. And I was so grateful for it. And then I just had to laugh at myself for thinking that, you know, she sent me a Kleenex. I was thankful for the Kleenex. I am so weird. I apologize to you guys. But the next bit of Happy Mail that I got is from Amanda, who like got in touch with me, I think on either Instagram or here on YouTube. But she mentioned that her husband went to the same college that I did. And so, you know, we're chatting back and forth, and I'm like, oh man, I feel like I know him. And then she sent me a message like, you know, I watched your podcast and I feel like I know so much about you. So here's some, you know, information about me. And when I tell you, I was reading like these little like bits about her, I was like, we are the same. So yeah, so she messaged me and said that she had some fiber samples and leftovers that she would like to share with me. Very gigundo thanks for these leftovers and samples. Y'all will see what all of the air quotes are for. So this is 2 ounces of yellow merino fiber, 4 ounces of superwash merino, which they do feel different. One of the best things about this box is nothing is duplicated, and just being able to touch the different like textures and fibers was like so mind-blowing to me. Like all of the spinning education is about to happen. And then written on here is 85-15, so I guess it's 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon. Does this one have anything written? No, this one doesn't have it. Oh, because this is only merino. This one is 2 ounces of targi, 2 ounces of baby camel, 4 ounces of alpaca, an ounce of angora, and an ounce of cashmere. I don't even think my spinning is worthy enough to spin this cashmere, because I opened it and I touched it and I was like, what kind of magical being is this? This came from an animal. There's an animal running around that feels like this. She also sent me an ounce of raw Supima cotton, and I just watched a video on spinning cotton, which is difficult, but to be honest, I don't even think that I would spin this. I think I'm gonna like put it in a jar and just like have it like as decor. Yeah, my grandmother picked cotton when she was a child. Fun fact. And she sent me flax roving, an ounce of flax roving, and it says water retted. I don't know what that means. I'm gonna have to Google. I'm also gonna have to Google how exactly you spin something like this. I think Grace from Fable's Traveling Yarn may have a tutorial or just like some video footage of her spinning flax. But yeah, definitely something I want to check out. Then there's some Peruvian wool top from Knit Picks. That's totally upside down. I think I might try to dye this. I think that's what I'm going to do with this. And last but not least on the fiber front is this. And this is from Skyloom Weavers, which is also the company that these came from. But does this show what this is? Oh, this is Wensleydale. 100% Wensleydale. 4 ounces. And look at that blue. Like, that is beautiful. So, it is a little bit prickly. Like, but not crazy prickly. So, who knows how any of this is going to end up when it's spun, because clearly sometimes I'll like pick up a fiber and be like, oh, this isn't prickly at all, and then I spin it and I'm like, holy cannoli, I was not ready. But I love that everything is so different in here. So I'm excited to like spin these and like figure out which fibers I really enjoy spinning, like what the differences are between them. Like, I feel like I need to write these like notes down in a notebook, because I haven't been doing that. I probably should start that. And she sent me some yarn. This is 3 Irish Girls Adorn Luxe, which is 85% merino, 15% nylon, and the colorway is Tide is High. That is beautiful. Like, I really love a good gradient, like for real. She also sent me some chocolate, which I am very proud to say there is still chocolate in the bag. I ate more than half of it though. And of course there was tea. And of the teas, like, alright, so when I said I was reading her like about me notes that she sent me, and I was like, oh my gosh, we're like the same. She sent me peach, perfect peach. This is one of my favorite teas. I love chai tea, and this spice chai is really good. Like sometimes I feel like chai teas are too like skinny and they're like too soft. Spice chai, if you mess around with this tea, it'll punch you in the face. And peppermint tea, like right here. But this is one that I'm super excited to try. This is instant Thai tea drink with cream and sugar. Drink it hot or cold. 3 in 1. What are the 3 things? I don't know. Whatever it is, it's 3 in 1. So I'm really excited to try this. I've never had like any Thai tea or anything like that. So excitement. And I think I just ran out of my peach tea also. So good looking out, Amanda. Yeah. I am under a pile of fiber right now, guys. Like, I can't even with this generosity. Like, I need to spin faster. I need to buy more bobbins. Like, so yeah. You see why I say like hugest gigundo thank you for these samples and leftovers. But yes, of course, like whatever I learn or discover in my spinning with these different fibers, I will be sharing them on Instagram. If you want to specifically see my spinning adventures, there is the hashtag that is Kalisha and the Babe, which I'll put on the screen. The next happy mail that I got is a card, a handmade card from Sophie Smith of Smith Studio Designs. And here's her logo. And Sophie reached out to me and said she wanted to send me something in condolence. And she sent me a really sweet note, which made me laugh from the very beginning, because she said, I'm typing this so you don't have to read my awful handwriting. But her message was very sweet. I shared it with my husband. And so, Sophie, thank you so much for your kind words. And that thanks is from me and from Lamar. But Sophie makes cards, and they're all like her illustration and everything like that. I think she's a watercolor artist. Yes, she's a watercolor artist. And I told her that I wanted to, do more watercolor painting, but I'm kind of like chicken about it. Like, the extent of my watercolor painting is like galaxies, because you kind of can't mess them up. But this is what she sent me. Housework is for people who don't know how to knit. And with that really pretty illustrated knitting. And then there's some more of her information on the back. I hope that's not too blurry. But of course, any shops or anything like that I mention, I will link in the show notes. I know I didn't put my show notes on the last video. My apologies. And the card is empty on the inside, so you can like write your own little message. So thank you so much, Sophie, for that. I'm gonna have to frame this, and it'll go like in my craft room of the future. And the very last thing that I have for Stash Position Happy Mail is a package I received from Kim, who has the Crafty Nomad podcast. And she sent me a message on Etsy and just said, happy mail is coming, or something like that. And it got here a couple days ago. She sent me a card, which, goes that way. I was actually looking at this pack of cards, this particular pack of cards, when I was at Hobby Lobby recently. Like, Hobby Lobby just randomly, not randomly, I mean, it's a business, but they have like yarny greeting cards. And I really like this design. It's a really nice classic look. But she also made me laugh from the very beginning of her card, because it says, "Hi, Kalisha Ryan. I did not mean to write your last name." That's fine, girl. But I really appreciated the kind note that she sent. And she said she hopes that this little package put a smile on my face, and it definitely did. So she sent me this notebook with this cool llama. And, you know, I think I might put this notebook in my spinning stuff and use this as my, like, spinning notes. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. So we'll put that over here with this fiber. And then speaking of fiber, she sent me this braid. I don't know what it is, but the colors are really cool. And this will be my first time spinning from like a multicolored braid situation, or not even a multicolored braid situation, a multicolored fiber situation that's not like a gradient. So it's going to be really interesting to kind of figure out how to manage the colors and things like that. So there's definitely some more like reading and research that I want to do before I jump into trying to spin this. But isn't that pretty? Look at that. I really like this orange right here. Oops. And this green. And then lastly, she sent me this Wisdom Yarns Pros, which is 75% superwash wool, 25% nylon, so a sock yarn. And I've seen this in yarn shops before, but I just have never purchased any of the Wisdom yarns. Yeah. So there is that. You know, well, never mind. I was gonna say it kind of reminds me of this yarn. They're not. I could see them being like relatives. But yes. So that's all of the happy mail. So thank you, Kendall. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Sophie. Thank you, Kim, for just showering me with all of this like happy crafty things. So thank you guys. Like, I really appreciate this community because of the thoughtfulness that people exhibit. You know, it's this it's very easy to look at different experiences that we have and think like nobody understands what I'm going through, to feel alone in whatever you're experiencing. Like for me, this my brother-in-law passing is the first time someone close to me that I interact with passed away. It was my first funeral like my first funeral where I knew the person. It was my first viewing, and I appreciate this community because of how we choose to share joyful things. That knowing, like knowing things like I can go on Instagram and see someone like sharing a beautiful thing that they created and it makes me smile, or someone can say like, I have this fiber and I wanted to share it with you. I hope it brings a smile to your face. And understanding that that person understands my love of the fiber arts as well, that's a really awesome thing. So I'm so grateful to be in this space, to be able to share this space with you guys, to be able to read comments of you guys sharing positive things, and to be able to celebrate like little things with you guys and big things with you guys, and be able to interact in this internet space, right? Like it's a wonderful thing. I have found so much peace and comfort in my making. My Jason sock, right? So I started this sock on the 8th, which was a Saturday, and I knit all the way through the color work that Saturday so that I could have all of this just vanilla knitting for Sunday, which was the day of the funeral. And it was, even though I didn't knit, like I didn't reach for the knitting in the midst of like all the people and everything, like afterwards, like I knew that I wasn't going to be pulled. I knew that I wouldn't reach for it in the service, but just knowing that it was there, it's kind of like, okay, like if I need it, it's there. But after the service and everything at the repast, I did pick it up. I did knit on it, and one of my friend's husband said that whenever he sees me knitting, it looks like I'm just breathing. And it's funny, but not, because it's almost like I'm reminding myself to breathe, like as you're in the rhythm of the work is helping me to breathe and to be peaceful and to be calm, and also to be aware of those around me. And yeah, and I just knit my way through this, and I am ever so grateful for this. I'm so grateful for yarn, but I'm so grateful for this thing, this outlet that we have, right? That allows us to, even in the midst of sadness, to be able to create something that is beautiful, And I'm glad that I had my knitting with me. I'm also glad that I decided to do, you know, this motif, because I was able to share that with, you know, our friends and everything, and it was good. It was good. It was a beautiful service. There was so much music, of course, and it was good. It was good. So yeah, Lamar asked me if I was going to like share this as a pattern, and I definitely am. I think I'm going to put out the chart. I don't know where. I don't know, maybe on Ravelry. Maybe I'll just take a picture of it and put it on Instagram. I don't know. But one of the things that Lamar said when he was speaking about his brother, he said that Jason was the kind of person that you couldn't help but love. And Lamar also admonished all of us to live in that way, to be people that others can't help but love, you know? And I want you to do that too. I want you to be a person that the world can't help but love. So yeah, that's everything I got for y'all today. Thank you all for being a part of my universe. If you want to, you can share a good thing that happened to you at some point in the comments below. Like I said, we do also have the Positive Moments Ravelry thread, so you can share them over there as well. But life is still beautiful. Thank you guys for being a part of my universe.